The Philippines is host to more than 24 active volcanoes such as Taal and Mount Pinatubo. However, when a volcanic eruption occurs in the country, it tends to originate from one of 5 volcanoes. As a result, these volcanoes tend to be well studied. However, one of these volcanoes stands out as not only do we not know how old it is, we don't know of its eruptive history before 1866. The volcano I am referring to is called Mount Anlaon, which has erupted 11 times since 1990. This video will discuss this volcano and mention what its future hazards are. The Anlaon volcano is located on the island of Negros in the central Philippines. When scientists refer to this volcano, we are not simply referencing the peak which bears its name, Anlaon. Rather, we are referring to a group of overlapping adjacent peaks which measure 16 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide. Although we aren't exactly sure how old this volcano is, we can estimate its age based on the extensive levels of erosion on its oldest section. Thus, the Anlaon volcano likely began forming 450,000 years ago when a volume of magma pushed upwards through the crust and erupted onto the surface. This magma erupted through a north-northeast trending fissure which represented a large fault in the crust. Other volcanoes to the north are aligned with this feature. Although eruptions occurred at various sections of this fissure, the initial focus of activity was a vent to the north. Over the span of several thousand years, alternating layers of ash deposited on top of a viscous lava called andesite. However, as Anlaon became taller and taller, its edifice began to become unstable, thus causing a portion of the edifice to slowly shift to the southwest. Then, 400,000 years ago, this pressure became too great and a large section almost completely collapsed in a massive landslide. Over the span of several minutes, a fast landslide swept over the surrounding country, continuing onwards until it reached the Pacific Ocean. In total, this landslide covered 300 square kilometers of land with an average thickness of 43 meters of rock. Debris from this landslide traveled up to 36 kilometers away and had a total volume of 13 cubic kilometers. Along the way, this landslide created numerous rounded hills called hummocks. These hummocks can be seen throughout this section of the island, indicating the potential of similar collapses in the future. As a result of this landslide, the volcano was reduced to a height of 2,100 meters from a likely original height of 3,000 meters. Afterwards, several volcanic cones began building out of the vast scar caused by this collapse. These volcanic cones experienced numerous highly explosive eruptions which deposited ash across the entirety of the island. Eventually, the modern volcanic cone associated with Anlaon began to form perhaps some 15,000 years ago. The most recent major eruption from Anlaon occurred sometime around 5,000 years ago. At depth, 2 compositions of magma mixed, causing a rapid buildup in pressure. This eventually caused the volume of magma to travel up to the surface and erupt in a highly explosive manner. As a large plume of ash was ejected high into the atmosphere, pyroclastic flows traveled across the landscape. By the time this Plinian eruption had ended, an 800-meter wide and 2,000-meter long crater had been created. Since records of this volcano have been kept in 1866, at least 31 eruptions have occurred. All of these eruptions originated from the main summit crater, termed the active crater. These recorded eruptions have all been relatively small, rating on the volcanic explosivity index as a 1 or a 2, thus resulting in limited impacts. Most of these explosions are caused by magma interacting with groundwater, causing it to flash to steam and explode in a phreatic eruption. These phreatic eruptions occur about once every 5 years. On more rare occasions, about once every 50 years, a Strombolian-style eruption occurs, causing beautiful fragments of lava to be ejected in a several-kilometer radius via intermittent explosions. The most recent eruption from Anlaon occurred in 2017. When the next eruption from Anlaon happens, several hazards can occur. The main threat are pyroclastic flows, which will be generated by even a small phreatic eruption. These can travel about 3 kilometers away, which is about the same distance potential bombs of lava could be thrown during a magmatic eruption. Additionally, whenever this volcano erupts, it will pose a considerable hazard to air traffic as quantities of ash can cause damage to aircraft engines. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to request a specific topic, please leave a comment below. Additionally, if you wish to support this channel, consider becoming a patron on Patreon.